5 days to Christmas, and I'm anxious. I'm having anxiety. Why? Well, this year, 2021, Christmas is not normal again. We have COVID. So that's in itself is a whole anxious situation, or a situation that puts you in a very anxious mood. But that's not what I'm talking about. I have spent the last 4 months making Christmas gifts. And now it's time to give them to people and see how they will react to them. And that gives me anxiety. Will they really like them, first of all? Will they appreciate the fact that I made this? Or will they look at it and go, oh, handmade, kind of a thing? Because, there are people that do that. They don't like handmade things. They want something that you bought. They don't really get the time, the effort that you put into planning, getting the supplies, working on it. They don't get that. They just go, oh, thanks. And that's the end of that. Well, I guess that's not their fault. That's my fault if that's the reaction I'm going to get, because you need to be sure that the person you're giving something like that to has an appreciation for a handmade gift. That you're not going to find someday the quilt that you spent a great deal of time working on laying on a floor covered in dirt and dog hair, because it is now the dog's blanket or whatever. Now, somebody told me once that once you give away a gift or something you have made, a quilt, for example, it's no longer yours. What that person does with it is totally up to them. You have no control over it. And if you have this control feeling that you would be disappointed if it became the dog's bed, and there's a potential that it would be misused in some way by your estimation, then don't give it away. Don't give it to that person. If you want to give them a gift, buy them something that they would appreciate more. Buy something at on Amazon or wherever, kind of a thing. Don't give them a handmade gift. Other times you get anxious because you're going, ooh, there is a mistake in that I made, and it's just a minor one. I don't think they'll notice, but what if they do? What if they notice that mistake? And that gives you anxiety, because you're giving something away to somebody. You want it to be absolutely perfect. And then there comes the anxiety you get from, will they show you enough appreciation? Yes. This is something very selfish. This is something very egotistical. But you have to think about it from this point of view. You spent the time putting this gift together. You did your best on that gift. You are giving a big piece of yourself to somebody else in that gift. You can't get something that's any more personalized than something you have created. So you are looking for that reassurance that they love it, that they appreciate it, and that they really appreciate your effort and think it's good. And that builds up your ego. And, every now and then, as a friend of mine used to say, you need to be stroked. You do. And that is one way you get the stroking. And I think that's what and yes, I will admit this. When I give a handmade gift that I've spent hours creating to somebody, I want praise. I do. I want my ego stroked from that. So nothing lets you down more than when you give a gift and they open it up and they go, oh, thanks. Well, that deflates your ego right there. So I guess when it comes to making gifts, especially at Christmas time, seriously consider who you're making it for. Someone who's going to appreciate it, somebody who's going to stroke your ego a little bit, and yeah, that's going to make you feel happy. If you don't think that's going to happen, go out and buy them a gift. They can always return it for something else. They can't return a handmade gift. At least I don't think they can. Think about it. Wouldn't that be something? You give somebody let's say a quilt that you spent weeks putting together, designing it, piecing it, quilting it, picking out the fabrics, the whole bit. Not to say how much money you've spent on it as well. And they go, oh, yeah, really not my style. Thanks so much. Maybe you could give this to someone else or donate it. Wow. Now, that has never happened to me. But, there are some people out there that are just not gift worthy. I'm sorry, but they're not. They're the kind of people that you pick up a cheap bottle of wine for, stick a bow on it, and go, Merry Christmas. There you are. Or a box of chocolates from Walmart. Because that's really all they deserve with that kind of attitude. Luckily, as I said, I have never had that happen to me. I have heard of it happening. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I think I may have mentioned this on one of my vlogs once before, but I'll give you an example of being excited about giving a gift. There was a lady in the guild I used to belong to. Her son had recently opened up a craft brewery business. And she thought she'd make him something really special as a opening day sort of gift for the business. She made a quilt. Now, on the quilt, she had found fabrics of different types of beers and things like that. She had designed it herself. She'd spent a great deal of time looking for the fabric, putting it all together, quilting it herself as well. She put a lot of love in it because, after all, it was her son, and she wanted to show him support for opening a new business. And she thought this would be something he would probably display in his store. Well, about a month later, I actually, by accident, ran into her son. I didn't know him at all, but we both happened to be working at a venue where he was there. I was a bartender, and he was there giving out samples of his product. And when I realized what the name of the brewery was that he was there representing, I thought, oh, I'll ask him. And so I said, hi, is your mother such and such? And he goes, yeah, it is. And I says, oh, yes, I know her. I belong to the same guild as her. I said, how did you like the quilt? Because I knew by that time she would have given it to him. How did you like the quilt your mother designed? I was not expecting this answer. The answer was, yeah, it's not really my style. Now, I didn't know what to say about that. I'm thinking about, why God, your mother made this. Even if you didn't really like it, it's not your style, at least I hope you showed her some appreciation for it, because she was very proud of it. And it was a reflection of her pride in her son that she wanted to do this as well. And he said, yeah, not my style. I said, your mother said to me she figured it would be something for your store. Yeah, no, I'm not hanging that up. It just doesn't go with the vibe. Okay, you ungrateful little bugger. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't say that. In fact, I didn't know what to say, so I sort of excused myself and got back to my bartending very quickly with that. But I just couldn't believe that. And I'm wondering how his mother feels about this. I wonder if she has turned around and said to him, well, how's the quilt doing? Have you got it hung up yet in your store? What would be his reaction to his mother? Would he say the same thing? Oh, no, Mom, it's just not my vibe. I have a feeling he would. How devastating for that mother. But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about when you're putting yourself out on a limb. When you create a present for somebody, a handmade present, and give it to them, if you're not really sure what the reaction might be. Now, on the flip side of all of this is you can start an avalanche. What I mean by that is you give a quilt or something else, a table runner or whatever that you've created to somebody. Other people see it, or that person sees it. They love it. You get your ego stroked and everything like that. Makes you happy that they're happy with it and the whole bit. And then you get orders. You get people go, oh, that's really nice. I'd love one of those too. Could you make me one of those? That happens. That does happen. Now, it's a two-edged sword on something like that. Because on the one hand, you're very flattered that somebody else saw this, appreciates the work into it, really likes your style, and would like to have one themselves. On the other hand, that's work. And sometimes these requests come from people that you don't know as well. In other words, they're people that, right off the top of your head, they're not somebody you would think about gifting to them one of your creations. So how do you react to that? Well, I can tell you because it's happened to me on several occasions. And I say yes. I usually say yes. Now, sometimes the requests are very complicated. They get very detailed in exactly what they want. And sometimes it stretches your ability as well, because they want this, this, and that, and the other thing. And you're thinking, oh my God, this is becoming really complex. This could take me a year to make. And because you're making it for somebody else, and whether they offer to pay you, sometimes they do. Sometimes they say, I'll pay for the materials. Okay, thank you. Nice gesture. But you're not paying for my time, are you? Yeah, you're paying for the materials. You're not paying for the time. So what I usually say to a person like that is, no, you're a friend. I'll do that for you. And then I curse myself after the fact. Because now I'm spending all my time doing what essentially is a commission piece for somebody else, and that's eating into the time into the things that I want to make. Can you say no? Yes, you can say no, but for most of us, we don't, because we don't want them to think bad of us. I mean, here they are, on the one hand, stroking our ego because they're making us feel like, yeah, this is something they want, because they really appreciate the work and the effort and the time and your talent into it. But on the other hand, you're going, yeah, but I don't want to do it. So how do you say no politely? Well, sometimes I try to throw back the idea to them because they don't really think it's a knee-jerk reaction. They think, oh, I'd love to have something like that. But they really don't know what it is that they want. So you say to them, well, okay, if you can find me a pattern that you like, and go do a search for the fabrics you might like in it and that kind of thing, that usually means you don't end up having to make it, because they don't get around to doing that kind of thing. And you're off the hook. You never said no. They just didn't get around to giving you the stuff. Of course, that can blow up in your face as well, because what can happen is down the road, suddenly they have found all these things. They have them all ready for you, and then they want it the next week, because they've decided now that this is for a special occasion or something that they want. Sometimes they want to take what they've asked you to make so they can give it as a gift to somebody else. There's a lot of confusion in all of that, because, if you are, well, in my case, if I'm giving it to you, I'm giving it to you. I made it for you. I did not make it for you to give to somebody else. And at that point, if that's what's going to happen, that's when I'd have no problem saying either no, or turning around and saying, yeah, this is how much it's going to cost. Because at that point, that's a commission piece. Because they're hiring you to make something that they're going to give away. So it's a business. So coming back to all of these things that I've made for people, and I'm looking forward to Christmas Day when they open them up, and I'm pretty sure the reactions I'm going to get will stroke my ego tenfold over with all of that. But there's still that anxiety. And then there's the letdown afterwards. It's always in the anticipation, isn't it? Because, it's like Christmas morning, the build up to Christmas morning. And once the gifts are open, that's it. Game over. What are you going to do next? And so I guess what I'm saying is, if you've been like me and you've been madly working on all kinds of Christmas gifts this year, go in with the attitude that, okay, they will say nice things and that'll be it. If you get more than that, you're going to be thrilled. And yes, I know Many of you are going to say, but it isn't all about you because, you're giving, not expecting to receive. That's bull roar. You may not be expecting to receive a gift comparable back, but you're at least expecting to have someone say nice things and for a brief moment make you feel good about the effort you put into putting this gift out there. So, word of advice to those of you that might receive a handmade gift this Christmas. Love it, appreciate it, and show that you love it and you appreciate it to that person who created it. Don't just throw it off in a corner with the comment, oh, that's very nice, thanks, and open the next gift. Show that you really love it. Because if you don't, you're never getting another thing from that person. At least if it's me, you're never getting anything from me. So think about that.